When I was in school growing up, I was put into special ed at second grade. And I was in special ed my whole career in school. So, like, when all the other kids went to class, they see me going to the special ed class, and obviously they thought that I was less intelligent than them. In some aspects, they were probably right. In other aspects, obviously, that they weren't. Um, so, like, the school system isn't made for everybody to succeed. I don't learn like everybody else. I have, you know, things I excel at and things I don't. Some of the things I don't is memorization. I don't memorize things very well. My memory is not good. I've probably there's a lot of self-inflicted damage that I've done when I was a kid to my memory. But yeah, like like going to school, it was pretty boring to me. And the whole reason I think that I was in the special ed anyway was just because of all the absurd times that I was forced to move around and go to different schools. Is there any type of correlation that in second grade I went to three different elementary schools and then I was finally put into special ed and then basically I was behind everybody from then? Is there anything? I don't know. Um, my IQ is like a 107 to 117, so the average person is like lucky if they have a hundred IQ. Um, doesn't make me better than them, no, but I'm definitely not stupid, and I know that now that I'm not stupid. Are people smarter than me? Yes, but the intelligence isn't just one thing. Let's take Luigi, the CEO shooter, for instance. The dude was a computer engineer, man. Highly sophisticated. He was a valedictorian of his I believe high school, maybe it was college. I don't recall. I was reading some of his tweets, the highly sophisticated tweets. The fact that Tim Pool's calling him stupid, I don't think so. I don't think that dude was stupid. Um, I think that he was stupid when it comes to what he did, correct. But I don't think the guy is stupid. And, you know, here's the thing. Like, I use the R word a lot. Um, and I can't say it here because I don't want to get banned, but it means slow. That's a definition. Slow. And I use that. I only really use that when I'm attacking people above me. I rarely attack people um, at my level on the internet. I usually attack above somebody with a prominent following, or that's it. I know they're never gonna see what I said, and some people might agree with me, they might disagree with me, whatever. Um, So yeah, I'll put something out and I might, disparage them in some type of way. Um, but usually like people who have less of a following than me, I don't attack them at all. I don't say anything crazy to them unless they attack me. You attack me, then all bets are off, man. And I can go for the jugular like pretty, like I can be pretty ruthless if I want to be with my words. Um, so when it comes to intelligence, like what is that? Like there's so many different forms of intelligence. Am I stupid? Perhaps. Some aspects, yes, of course. I'm memory horrible. I'm bad with names. I don't remember things very well. I don't remember like huge concepts into great depth. When I got back into crypto, I actually had to like relearn a couple things, like because I want to make sure that I transacted the right way. I didn't do it for a long time. Like when you don't do something for a long time, even if you're a master, there's a little bit of a catching up that has to happen. Like for instance, The only thing that I've mastered in this life is high-low, okay? I know, completely worthless thing to master. It's like mastering being a fry cook or a burger flipper. That's what it's akin to. Like, and the reason why I mastered it was because I had to do it for so much of my time was invested so I can make money off of that. So I acquired that skill just because I had to do it. I didn't do it on my own spare time, like, you know, invested at that 10,000 hours of my own time on my, to learn to drive around a high-low. I got to be a master because I did it for my job for like 10 years. But guess what happens? When you don't drive one for a long time, you lose the feel. You're not as good. Not saying that you can't pick it up quickly and get right back to where you were, but you're not just going to stop doing something for a few years and then just pick it back up and like you were before, like a complete expert. Like I had to get a feel from it. And this is like this is something that I went, so like the job I left, the job that I became a master at high-low forklift, and I went and did other jobs, learned other stuff, and the type of forklift that I was driving, it's a little bit different than a regular forklift. So like the special forklift that I mastered, I didn't really use. There wasn't many out there that I really used in different jobs I did. So, probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years pass, I get into a job that has my old high-low, and I start to drive it a little bit, and I'm like, whoa, I gotta take this. It almost feels like I just started again. Like I'm brand new on this thing, like I did when I first started. Because things are backwards, like, you know, is for anyone who wants to know, is called a stand-up high-low, and it reaches high up into the racks, probably like 30 or 40 feet, and you bring stuff down. The one I have, like, when you turn, it's like backwards of the way you turn, so you have to like get your brain right and get a feel for it. So like I didn't just jump back on it and I was an absolute beast like I was. No, it took some time, it took some getting used to, it took a few days, and then finally, boom, I was right back to where I was. Absolutely flawless, feels like an extension. That's what happens when you master a machine so much, it feels like an extra limb, an extra body part. You just tell your limb to do this, and it does. Like it all almost becomes like automatic, where you don't even have to think. To the point where, like you got to pay attention if there's something that like, it's a close call or something. But if it's kind of like regular, it's easy. You can see it's not going to be a big deal, and then you don't really have to think. It's like driving to your commute every day to work and back. You don't really think too much of, oh, I gotta go here. Like where you go pretty much automatically. You do a lot of thinking yourself, and you don't have to sit there like you're going to a new place and you're like, where do I go? Where do I turn? Like you already know, because like you've done it so many times. You just it's not a big deal. So like relearning things takes time too. And just because you're a master at something doesn't mean you're gonna pick it up and just be like, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, some things can be different. But I think that there is generally with most things that if you stop doing something that you're great at for a while, and then, for a substantial time, not just a couple months, but a few years, and then you go back to pick it up, drums, guitar. You're not going to be at the level you used to be. It's just kind of like lifting weights. You get yourself up to lifting like your max, and then you stop lifting for a few months or whatever. You go back to trying to do that, and you're not going to be able to do that. You have to work your way back up to that. There's no way you're going to be, you don't have the strength to do what you did. Maybe you might be able to get it up once, but you're not going to get it up 6 times like you did before with ease. So you have to work your way back up. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I think that intelligence is, there's so many different factors of intelligence, and the thing that people forget is, like, none of us are perfect. So, like, I make mistakes. Everyone thinks that they're like, not everyone, but like so many people, especially like prominent figures on Twitter or whatever, they think that they're like so perfect. What the funny thing is too, like on X, is when I post something and it really shows the lack of intelligence, and this when it comes to like general understanding, when people like harp on my grammar or my misspelling, for the most part, my posts are spelled pretty correctly, but there might be something that, like, I don't know why autocorrect does it, but like sometimes it just won't. I have to fight with it sometimes. It posts something I don't want. I don't really reread my posts. I just pretty much fire them really, really quickly, and I go on to something else. And that's my problem. I need a AI to reread things before it posts it. Like, hey, are you sure you want it like this? And then it posts it. Okay, yeah, I can see. Like, there's this misspelling. Do you want this? Is this how you wanted it? X needs to like let us edit our replies. That's what it comes down. Just let us edit our replies, man. Because I sound like stupid sometimes. It's like, man, that was such a good post, and then you see like all this attention on it, and then you see that one little it's like, are you serious, man? But most people know what you're talking about. Most people know the message I am trying. Okay, does my punctuation off a little bit? Sure. Is my spelling off on one thing? Sure. But you understand what I'm trying to say. You can, if you're a human being, you can understand, and you can put 2 and 2 together. You can read the little statement and be like, okay, this is what they tried to say, but something happened. But this, like, it's the message. The message is more important than the grammar or the spelling, and that's what I'm trying to say. But there's some people that just like, they harp on spelling and grammar more than the actual message, and then it's just like, okay, man, cool. Your grammar and spelling is absolutely flawless. Oh, we learned this back in high school. Cool, man. Cool, dude. But like, I haven't been in high school for like over 20 years. In fact, I think it's been over 25 years since I've been in high school. And I really haven't had to use that. I really haven't had to use my grammar in my work. So like people can like laugh and jeer at me, but like, what's funny is like when I when I write another book at some point, because I will, you're gonna see the improvement from my first book. And the second book I wrote, I wanted it's really weird, my second book. I wanted it to be formatted a certain way, and then when I uploaded it, like, I spent a lot of time formatting it a certain way when I wrote it. And then when I uploaded it, totally messed up. So I'm like, this is not how I wanted it to be, and I'm not going to take the time to try to figure out how to make it how I wanted it to be. So like, nobody's going to read this anyway. I don't really care. And if people do read it, they're gonna see like it's a poetry. Oh, okay, this is how it is. Like it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than the average read. The format, it's messed up, and it was an accident. Honestly, it was just an accident of transferring the file, uploading the files up onto Amazon. But my point is, um, like I think my um, mistakes show my human side. People who are on here trying to be perfect on social media and every single thing, and then they don't show mistakes, like they only show their good side. That's it. Like, oh, their life is so fabulous. Like, there's no struggle. There's no showing how they got to that point. Like, their vacations, like, like the torment that they might, like, there's no, like, people put this perception on their social media, like, everything is so perfect in their life. There's no struggle. There's no pain. There's no suffering. And then that's what people see. People are really fake in real life and on the internet, because like who wants to put like negative stuff out about themselves, especially if they're like messing up. The funny thing is too, like I was weird thing is like I got Milo to like one of my comments. He actually responded. Yeah, he responded to one of my comments on his comment yesterday, which is pretty cool. There's another prominent figure that did too. Like I see these prominent figures, they see me and they're engaging with me somewhat. It's kind of crazy to see like who is that prominent figure that I forget, this is why I'm saying my memory isn't the greatest. I think it was a woman. Oh, Tiffany Fong. She's got like 300,000 followers on X, and I posted something, and then she liked it, which is cool. Somebody else they had like 1 million followers. They liked something that I did, but like Serge from Timcast, he's the guy that does I think he's basically like the producer for the Timcast show, Timcast IRL. He's the one in charge of the cameras and panning it from person to person when they speak. I think he's in charge of that. He doesn't even introduce himself anymore. He doesn't really talk that much. It's funny, like he's interacting with me while he's producing the show or whatever. It's cool. It's cool he's on X. That's so cool to interact with somebody like that. What was I going with this point? I had a point to talk about Surge, and I forgot. Damn. Anyway, but it's kind of weird to see that like they see me, like prominent figures see me. Like if they see me, then how comes like it just seems like if they can see me, then it should be I should be seen more from other people. I don't know. I usually like what I try to do is like I'm scrolling through the feed, the ones that post are shot up to the top. Like you can see it like a couple seconds. It's crazy how fast that people can post. They get on there like it seems like seconds. People are like putting posts up. Probably got to be AI, man. You can't read it, watch a video in a couple seconds. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's probably like, these are probably bots that are replying so quickly within like seconds, within 30 seconds of them posting, be able to write it, send it. Cause like when I'm posting it next, like I post something and then I have to like, it takes time for it to send unless I go to this screen and I said send now. But sometimes like when I go there, it disappears. And then I have to like wait and find it and then like send it. It's just kind of weird how it works. I want it to be sent automatically. But like I think what it is like one of my comments might be one of the first comments they see when they look into their notifications. And since I have the blue check mark, I'm more relevant than these bots that don't have check marks. So that's why I think that they can see me. But it's interesting, and either way, like to have people that have hundreds of thousands of followers to, you know, these people are the conversation. You know, when they talk, people listen. They navigate. They direct the conversation, the content. So to have these people like see me, see something I posted, like it, perhaps even interact with it, is pretty cool. You know, when I got into crypto, like didn't know anything about it, and I was just like kind of like studying the economy and stuff like that. Like started learning about the economy somewhat. This is basically okay. I wanted to talk about this. So this is gonna be cringe. One of the craziest things, man. I was trying to interview for this one. Dude, some of these jobs that I went for, I'm extremely overqualified for, and they've passed on me, which is crazy. Um, for instance, there was this company I worked for, and I ended up becoming like almost like the top guy. I'm not the top of the like. There's these different levels that you achieve based off of if you can perform the job or not, and then you move up pay scale and all this, and like you're on a different level, and it's based off of the supervisor's discretion to put you on a different level if you can perform the job duty. You have to be able to perform the job duty without anybody there. So like, you know, I was performing all these job duties, moving up relatively fast. I learn extremely slow at first, but then I catch on. It's like a light switch; it just catches on. And I just like I learn extremely fast. Like I catch on to systems extremely fast, probably quicker than like the average person or whatever. So at first I seem probably really apprehensive and stupid because I'm trying to figure things out, especially if I'm told to go first and I've never done it before, or like I don't know what the hell to do. No, but I don't have an example of how to. If I have to reinvent the wheel myself, when I can just see a basic example from the trainer, I'm gonna look stupid. I need to see like some basic examples so I can mimic it to some extent. And that's a good trainer. If the trainer shows you an example instead of just telling you, they're a good trainer. So basically, like learning all these things, learning how to back up like semi trailers and stuff like that, it put me up higher up, and I was so close to being an exporter, to being able to so like when we send these, well, Israel anyway, because we were sending out stuff to Israel, there couldn't be anything inside the container. There couldn't be any bugs, any type of rubbish, like if there's a piece of wood, whatever, but like, you know, that breaks off from one of the or whatever, but like when it comes to like organic things, they don't want like anything that we have over here when it comes to like possibly a plant seeds or anything like that to interfere with where they're at over there. They don't want like possibly bugs or whatever. Like they don't want their ecosystem messed with, because our ecosystem might be slightly different here. Like the shipping between continents is very strict of what can be in these containers. So loading up these containers, trying to figure out mathematically how to make everything fit, I was almost there, and that was like the top. And then like the same company that I worked for in a different place, where I try to become in the same type of I try to become a shipper in a different. So like the shipping at the job I try to go for at the company I worked for before. The stuff that I learned in my previous job was way more advanced than whatever they were doing at my new job I was trying to get. So, you know, it was crazy. It was like, I'm already an expert here. I'm already an expert. And the funny thing is, like, I think I'm pretty solid when it comes to interviews. You know, I've landed many jobs, so obviously I come off a certain way, but I went for the first job, right? And this job was like a coordinator. It sets up schedules for shipping. And you know, I was like, I'm not gonna get this job because I don't have really any experience in this job. If I was to take on this job, I need somebody to assist me, to guide me, to train me. And they probably already had somebody learn that stuff. They don't need a train because they already have somebody. So like, I knew I wasn't gonna get that job. Could I learn it, become very good at it? 100%. I would have mastered that job. It would have been bumpy. It would have been a bumpy ride at first for me, like learning. But it would have been, I would have had it locked down, and they would have seen how great I had that locked down, and they would want to continue to promote me to do different things in the company. So like I didn't get that job, which I didn't think I was going to get anyway, but just a regular shipper person. I was competing with this other guy, and they picked him over me, and I was like, that's crazy, man. With all this experience I have, and for the job title, I'm like way more, like I'm a shoo-in for this job, and I've had my ego crushed. I've been humbled so many times. One of the most humbling experiences I've had in my lifetime was my brother. He worked at this place for like 7 years. He started at the bottom. Okay. He worked his way up to a manager. He managed a whole boat yard. Dude was awesome. He was the best boss. He was one of my favorite bosses I've ever had, because he actually like, since he was with us and he started from the bottom there. He wasn't like he came out of college or whatever and just didn't have no experience, and just because he knew how to do paperwork or what have you, like he was in that position. No, he knew how to do everything because he learned it, and then he got promoted. So he would be like, he would come out and do the grunt work with us and help us out, and he actually liked to do it, I think. So that was definitely, where am I going with this? Oh, so like, dude's a badass. He's still a badass to this day. He's thriving in his job right now. I'm so happy for that dude. And in fact, my brothers, and they're all thriving, which I'm very happy. They're thriving in the industry that they're in, which is fantastic. I'm happy for these people. So when it comes to um, the humbleness. So I ended up having his old locker, right? Even down to his old locker. So I had his old locker. He's like 10 years younger than me. I had no, I'm like, you're basically a maintenance person. Basically, this job was, I help take yachts out of the water and send them off. It's a lot of preparation. And then what you would do is, like, when you take them out, these yachts, you're spraying off the algae off of the paint off the bottom, and that's something I did. Like that, I hated that. You pressure wash all that crap off. I absolutely hated that part of the job. I did at first. I didn't like the whole like taking them out and putting them in, because you have to like figure out, like, you have a machine that lifts it up, and you have to make sure like it's stable, like the straps are stable underneath, so it doesn't flip the boat or anything like that. So anyway, like, you have to make sure that you're at the right position to to loosen straps, so the boss can be like, with the ropes, so the boss can be like, hey, I need it moved over. So like they need it done now. So like there's no like lollygagging. Like, you have to know it. You have to know what they need and do it. And I sucked at this job at first. It was like very anxiety ridden job. So much so, this video is gonna be a cool video, I think. So much so that damn, I just lost train of thought. Anyway, so like, we would get the boats out, spray them off, and then we would put them on blocks, right? So like, we had this huge thing called, it was the thing that, it was like a huge, they called it Big Bob or whatever, but it had straps. It was a huge machine, like really, really tall. And then like they would use a remote control to control it. And I actually like started to learn how to do that myself, like control it a little bit. I don't think I ever really moved it. I could, but like I was getting good with like, what would happen is the straps, they needed like some type of protection over. So every time we took a boat in and out, we needed to make sure that the plastic on the straps was pretty good. So the fiber of the straps were basically made out of like a plastic type of nylon, similar to like a regular nylon rope, or like, it's kind of plasticky or whatever. Really, really tough, really durable. But then it would rub up against the boat, and you don't want that. You don't want the paint getting rubbed off or whatever. When we take them out of the water, it don't matter, because what happens is, usually when these boats get taken out of the water, they need a fresh coat of paint before they go back in. You're getting rid of the algae and all the barnacles and crap. So, when you send them off, you got to make sure that the straps are protected with plastic, nice coat, so it doesn't rub up against, it doesn't mess up the paint when you send it off. You want the paint to be immaculate when you send it off. So then we would block them up so we can do our work. Like, some of these yachts would stay there for weeks or months, and we would position these different blocks to make sure that they're secure. They're not going, the boat's not going to tip over. So we would go there and then put wedges in there between the boat and the block to position it correctly. So when he finally releases all of the weight onto the blocks, it's 100% fine. It's not going to move. It's not going to tip over. There's not going to be any problems. There's not going to be any weaknesses. You don't want any weaknesses. You want it to be strong. And he will come and check and make sure before he set it down. But it was definitely interesting. But like, okay. One of the things I hated about that job is I couldn't just clock in. I had to write down what boat I worked on for the whole. Like, it was such a pain in the ass. At the end of the day, everyone's sitting there trying to write what boats they put on. You know, it's like what they did on that. It's so stupid. So it was such an old clock too. It was like you push it and then it stamps it. It was like from the 1950s or something. I don't know. It was so horrible. There was good things about that place. There was bad things. I didn't really like working there too much. When I worked with my brother, it was cool, but a lot of times I was trying to like figure out what to do with myself because sometimes there wasn't nothing for me to do, and I don't know how to fix a lot of things. Like, anyway, so the humbleness happened when, you know, obviously I took over my younger brother's locker. But one of the janitors quit. So since they didn't know what to do with me, the boss put me as a janitor too. So part of which was fine. I mean, I didn't know what else to do with my time anyway. So like, yeah, if I had extra time and there was nothing like downtime, that I did not like the downtime. I'm on camera. They see me doing nothing. I always have to look like I'm busy. Like this job, you had to like, if they're like, oh, okay, we have to get the boat into the, like they would make, like we would be hustling. We would be running. They'd have us running. It'd be out of nowhere too. It'd be like, we wouldn't even know like what boats are being moved or whatever. It's like out of the blue. Oh, it's like, why? Why wouldn't you tell us? Why wouldn't you have like a meeting with us, letting us know? We had walkie talkies, you know. It was kind of like last minute. Oh, we're gonna move this. Like, hey, it's not like, hey, in like 10 minutes we're gonna be moving. It was like, we're moving. Get going. Run. Stop. Drop whatever you're. It's so stupid. It's like, it's probably similar to the firemen people where they're like sleeping and all of a sudden they just have to jump out of bed and go to a fire. It was unnecessary, honestly. The guy was an asshole. The boss, I never liked the boss. I thought he was an idiot. Not the major boss that I had, the guy that hired me, but the guy below him. I thought he was a fucking idiot, man. I thought he was stupid as fuck. I never fucking liked him. I just didn't really respect him that much. My relationship wasn't very good with him. He seemed like a dick. I never really got along with him. But I mean, I got along with him as much as I could. I did whatever fucking I didn't like rebel against him or challenge his authority or anything like that. But it's just like I never really fucking liked that guy. Anyway, so I'm sitting there. Like, imagine that. You're in a place in your life where you're around 35. You should be established. You should like have a good concept of like, you know, like all my brothers and they're all established in their lives and in their jobs and their careers, but I wasn't. I'm just kind of like that bastard kid, kind of like a bastard kid, that black sheep where it's just like, I'm just almost like an embarrassment. I'm an embarrassment to my family. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm an embarrassment to those people, and I really shouldn't be an embarrassment. I've accomplished a lot of things. I don't think any of them have wrote books. So I think that's a pretty major thing to write books. So, and I really don't give a fuck. I really don't give a shit. But I'm 35, around 35, 40-ish, whatever. Yeah, and then I got my brother who is 10 years younger than me, who is my boss, one of my bosses. Not my direct boss, but one of my bosses. I have his old locker, and now I'm cleaning the shitters. How humbling is that experience right there? Can most people do that experience? Like, seriously. Pretty humbling. Very humbling experience. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that was... I might have said something in my video about my humble experience before, but like... I'm grateful for that experience, and like I said, there was cool things about that job. It was cool that I learned how to. I ended up getting pretty solid about taking these boats in and out of the water. And you know, like basically what I did was I would grind the props down. The props are like the propellers, whatever, and then you have to put a nice coat. It's called prop speed. It's some like special paint for the propeller. So you put on this base coat or whatever, and then you put on a clear coat over top of that, and it's like a protector for the, because you don't want barnacles building up on the propeller. Obviously that can cause problems when it comes to like the speed. Maybe it breaks it. Who knows? So like, yeah, you know, humbleness. I don't know what I'm talking about. When I started talking about intelligence or whatever. Oh, yeah. Um, there's a lot of different things. Here's something. Here's something kind of crazy that I wanted to talk about too. Um, like, and this goes with the scheduling. Like, I thought this was like, it was such a Hail Mary when I tried to get that like shipping job where I knew I wasn't gonna get it, where I was planning like shipments and whatever. I actually threw in that I ran a fantasy football league and I handled the scheduling. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, I don't have any experience, so I'm taking something that sounds so cringy, so weird for me to put that out there. But I put that out there because like like I can handle schedules. That's probably like one of my big pluses, honestly, like scheduling. I remember this one time, one of my people, like one of my old buddies, like he had a fantasy basketball league, and he started going in there and tinkering with the schedule or whatever, and then he completely messed it up. And he was telling me about it, so I'm like, hey, let me try to help you. Let me try to help you figure it out. So, you know, I go over there to his place and I start looking at it, and I'm like, oh, how about we do this? And then I figure it out, get it all set for him for. It maybe took a couple hours for me to figure out. Okay, this team plays this team. This, you know what I mean. I think there was probably like 12 teams or something like that. So flawless. There was no issues with the scheduling at all that year. Another thing, I actually like, it was a football league that I ran, I think. Yeah. I ran a basketball league. Maybe it was a basketball league I did this. The scheduling was really cool. So like in fantasy football or fantasy basketball, whatever, what happens is like the bottom teams that know they're not going to make the playoffs, they pretty much stop like setting their schedules. Okay. So like you pretty much, and that could affect some teams that might have a chance to make the playoffs. For instance, I'm like, if they set their schedule over there and they beat that team, then I might have a chance to get into the playoffs. But since people aren't setting their schedules or putting the best players in the game to possibly win that game, it kind of like dilutes the league at the end, you know, and people stop paying attention. So I thought about this cool like playoff system where I think I did like 6 teams makes the playoffs. I think I did, 6 teams makes it. I think it was like 12 or 14 team. I think it was probably like 12. 6 teams makes the playoffs, and then 4 teams make some type of like lower playoffs. So like basically the top 4 teams would all get paid I set up the money so all the top 4 teams would get paid. So if you lost your first round game, the 2 teams, there's 2 of the best teams that had the first round bye, so they would get paid no matter what. The teams that didn't, they would, if they lost, they would get sent down to this other bracket to fight for 5th place to get paid out. I don't remember how exactly. This is like 10 years ago, but basically I had almost all the teams having to be able to keep, besides maybe like the 2 bottom teams or whatever, paying attention and keeping up with their lineups. So like we keep it competitive instead of just like, okay, this person, they know they're not in the playoffs, they're not gonna pay attention, they're not gonna do adds and drops, which adds and drops cost money, picking up players, get rid of players. So basically, yeah, if you got the top 4, you would get paid, and then like I would have, I don't know, maybe, I mean, if you lost, like if you're one of the bottom teams that didn't get in the top 6, it was probably like 4 teams or whatever. You lost, you were done, but you still were like, it still kept your attention, because you still had a chance. You might not be able to, you might be one of the bottom teams, you're not going to be in the top 4, you might not get the big prizes, but hey, you might still come out with something. You might come out with at least like what you put in. So people are like, okay, yeah, and it worked out flawlessly like that. No, I don't think anybody complained about it. Nobody, used it. Maybe it was too complex for them. People like things more basic, but yeah, like my whole concept was like, I want to keep people paying attention to this league till the end. At least most of the teams. Fine, not all the teams are going to. That's But if I can keep, instead of just like only 6 people are paying attention the last couple of weeks, well, now we have 10 teams paying. You know what I mean? That's a little bit better. And that's where my abstract thinking comes in, because I think outside the box most of the time. A lot of times I think outside the box. Sometimes I think inside the box, but a lot of times I think outside the box. And people don't understand where I'm coming from. The biggest thing, my biggest struggle when it comes to being a visionary person is like when I go into some place and I'm like, how can I make this thing better? How can I make this environment better? What are some good ideas to make this better? I like doing that. I'm not one of these people where I have to be with like all these other people and we start throwing all these crazy ideas at the wall and try to figure out in a group setting. I prefer to work by myself when it comes to that aspect. When it comes to working with people or myself, I prefer to work by myself. People are a distraction. I don't like telling people what to do. I prefer just to like do my thing, have not much responsibility, but I realize at this age I have to take on more responsibility when it comes to being in charge of people. And that's where I'm headed. Unless some crazy thing happens, unless I'm correct in my with my assessment of Bitcoin, and it could be worth millions of dollars. Well, things might change for me slightly. Not like, I'm ultra rich or nothing like that, but I'm definitely not going to be in the same bracket as the people I'm around currently. I'll definitely, if my predictions pan out even somewhat, which I don't see anybody saying I see most people are being very conservative with their predictions when it comes to Bitcoin. The reason why I'm so like bullish on Bitcoin is because, like I said like there's a limited supply. There's only so much that can be produced a day. So once all the supply gets really low, that drives up the price. I think that there's going to be a serious demand for crypto. I think there's going to be a huge demand. I don't think it's there yet. I think that we're early still. I think that most people at my level, they really can't get in at this point. They can't invest. That's what I think. They don't have the funds. They're more worried about surviving. They're strapped. Most people, I think, are saddled up with a lot of debt. Whether they keep the perception to everybody else that they're well off, they're really not. If you was to take their net worth, which means their total value, and then like their equity, whatever they put in their house, whatever, and then you take away their debts and everything like that, like these people have a lot more debt than me. Seriously, way more debt than me. Whatever debt I have right now, it's very small compared to, like, I think the average person probably has like 50,000 credit card debt probably. These people you think are rich, these people in the middle class, they got their house, they got their car, they got their career. You think they're rich? They might make over 100,000, but their finances are a mess. Hey, I'm not saying mine are any better. I'm just trying to like, what you know what happened with me? You know why I'm poor? And this is why I say don't have kids unless you can afford them. You got idiot conservatives out here, even Elon Musk, who I highly respect, is basically saying go have kids. If you don't have the ability to create value and you go and have kids, you have to rely on entry level jobs. If you have no skills, now if you have some skills, you can make some money. But if you have to rely on entry level jobs because you don't have skills, you're not going to make much of a you're not going to get far ahead. And in fact, you're probably going to both have to work. The wife and the man, or the husband, or the wife, the husband, whatever the dynamic of the relationship is. One of my biggest flaws is I lose train of thought. That's one of my biggest flaws. Okay. I didn't have any skills. I couldn't provide value. And I had kids. So, it's been a struggle getting off of welfare, which I started out on after having kids. It's been a struggle. You know how hard it is to get off of welfare? It's very hard. That's why people stay on it. There's not really incentive for people to get off of it, honestly. If you don't have to work and they're just paying you, it's like whatever. I always worked. I always had a job. I always paid bills. Like, even though my rent was like, the rent should have been like $600 or whatever, but I was only paying $350 because I was getting help from the state at the time. Man, these people with their car alarms are crazy where I live. Like, these people, like, they don't hear their car going off. It's absurd. So many stupid people. So it happens a lot here. I don't understand. Like, the cars are right here. If I hear the car alarm going off, I'm looking out there making sure it's not my car. People are like, I don't know if they're lazy, they don't care. They like to hear the car alarm. I don't know. So the reason why my fan, because I've been playing catch up, dude. I've been playing catch up. When I worked my ass off. Like when I mastered the high low, um, I always worked my 40 hours. Every single time I always worked my 40 hours every single week. Um, I couldn't afford to put anything to any type of retirement, anything like that. So, you know, like I've made mistakes too. I tried to get remarried to the wrong person and bought her an extremely um, valuable ring at the time, which she didn't deserve, and she probably, I guarantee she sold it. She sold it. So like a long time ago, probably as soon as we like broke up, she sold it. Um, so that was a huge mistake. Trying to remarry, like, no, don't, didn't work out. But I was trying to put a family together. Like I want some semblance of a family because my kids are still small, and it was such a dumb, so stupid. I've made major mistakes in my life. That was a huge mistake, which did help me grow as a person. But I just don't like how it affected everybody emotionally in the situation. Um, the personal growth was great. I deserve the suffering. I deserve to come to awareness of what I was and what I was doing. Didn't have much of a masculine figure growing up, so had pretty much like had to figure everything out on my own because it really wasn't taught much from my parents. So I've been playing basically catch up, and then I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, no, I don't. I can work a couple jobs and get my debt down. I can do that. I don't have, I don't want to do that, but I can do that. Um, and I'm gonna have to become a supervisor because like this isn't going to take off for me, and I know in my lifetime it's not going, and maybe one day it will, maybe it never will. Maybe I just get lost in all the content creators. There's so many content creators out here that my stuff just gets lost in the mix, which it pretty much already is anyway. But honestly, I'm probably way more optimistic about Bitcoin than I should be. Most people say by the time Trump gets in there, it'll probably be around 200,000. People were saying 200,000 next year. So, and these people are probably smarter than me and crypto and everything like that. I would probably, but it's predictions. The thing about crypto is you don't know. You don't know. You really don't know how high this can get. It could get one Bitcoin could end up being hundreds of millions of dollars. That's not going to happen. But who the hell knows what the financial system is going to be in the future? What I want is if you want to be a part of the civilization, everything is basically free in reality. There's no need for you to store, to hoard, to do any of that. We have abundance for everybody if you want to be a part of society, a civil society. We have a civil society. So we don't need to, since we have abundant resources for humans, there's no need to be violent towards each other for resources. And most wars happen over resources. That's where disputes happen, over resources. So if we have an abundance of resources, which we basically are in an age of abundance for some, even for me, I feel like I'm in an age of abundance compared to the farmers. I want people to understand something. humans, the average human, the average common, basically toiled in the fields, man. That was their life. Their whole life was toiling in the fields. Sun up to sundown. They didn't know any different. They didn't know about... A lot of these people they didn't really study religion. They pretty much, since they were so busy doing everything manually, because that's, basically they used humans as farm tools like that in very barbaric times. That's how it was back then. And it was how it was everywhere. This shows how much we've evolved as humans. And when it comes to people are like, I won't have a purpose. I won't have a purpose. I won't have a purpose for what? Well, I won't identify with my menial job anymore. Like, I'm sure, like, we'll find a purpose. The purpose is family. Have families, man. So if we have a civil society where there's hardly any crime, hardly any violence, that's where I want to be. Abundance of stuff. If you don't want to be a part of it and you want to go out and do everything manually, then go do it in the woods. Go do it. Go start a community and you can have your own little cult and all that. Go do it. But for the rest of us, we're going to go and we're going to have a civilized society where we're going to be on multiple planets. Don't know if this is true, but apparently there's multiple universes. That's what I seen. Somebody tweet out that it's a quantum computer that just came out with Alphabet that it sees that there's like multiple universes. Not sees, but it calculates there's multiple universes. So, when you see like, what is that? Horton Hears a Who? Is that a thing? Well, I mean, if I can just like take my eyesight and then make it microscopic on whatever I'm looking at, like automatically. I know this sounds crazy, doesn't it? At some point, we're probably gonna be able to do that. We're gonna be able to see in the night and see in the dark. See far miles like an eagle. Be able to zoom in on things, like a microscope. But I'm sure if I could see and I started looking around, everything would be moving. Everything would probably be moving because microscopic organisms, bacteria, whatever, we don't see because they're so small. Well, they're basically in a different universe. They don't understand. But in their perception, if they were to have any type of intelligence, they would be like, I can't go nowhere. I'm kind of stuck here. What is this? I mean, could they even be able to see us? You know what I mean? Because they're so small, would they even be able to notice anything outside their environment? And is that what we are? You know what I mean? Like, there's this perception that, people are saying like we live on a flat earth or whatever. And that's becoming more popular, which I don't think is true. I give it credence, I tried to be open-minded, but I don't think so. I don't think so. But you can see a microbe not understanding. We don't know if they can think. We don't know if they're smart. Obviously, they're probably not. But I'm just saying, like, that's where we could be in this universe, like that. Like a microbe that we don't understand. And there's multiple universes that, like, we could be ultra small in this universe, and there's another universe where people are like huge, like humongous, like us compared to a microbe. We don't really know. We could just be living on somebody's shoe. We could be a speck of dust in our universe, which we think is like, we think we're big, but we're really, 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 really tiny. Or it could be the complete opposite. It could go both ways. There could be universes with huge people or huge things, highly expansive, like the universe, which looks infinite, like it goes on forever, but it really doesn't. We just don't see, because we can only see in our own environment. We don't have the technology, we don't have the capability. We have the same capability as a microbe has to look outside its environment. I don't think they probably don't even have vision. These microscopic bugs or whatever, they might have vision. I don't know. But you can see where I'm going with this, right? Then you top off, like, we might be living in there might be different dimensions as well, and like, there's so much we really don't know about this life. We're really kind of ignorant. We think we know so much, but we really don't. Most of the things that we think we know about the universe is hypothetical. The Big Bang Theory. Hypothetical. A lot of things are theories. What happens when you get sucked through a black hole? We think you just get crushed. Well, we don't really know, because we haven't had a human go through a black hole to tell us. So we just assume. I don't think I have enough information given for me to be like, this is a concise theory, or concise, like, this is legit. And then, I think that, like, people use religions to cope with their existence too. So, like, I don't know. I think there's a creator, but I don't know what that creator is. And I think the creator is way more complex than whatever the Bible says. And I think that there's truths with the Bible too. People actually lived, like, they wrote down how they lived. But I also think that it is possible that the Bible could have been edited in a certain way to control people as well. As some elements of the Bible have been edited, or some things have been left out intentionally. Like, I would definitely want to know about Jesus' life from age 12 to whenever the Bible picked him up, when he was like, what, 30? What was he doing all that time? That's a big time. We don't know what. Oh, he was just a carpenter. So you're telling me that Jesus had these powers, but he couldn't find somebody that could read and write, that can, like, document this for him. He had all this power. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't God send Jesus somebody? If he didn't know how to read and write, just say hypothetically he didn't know how to read and write, he just knew how to make furniture. Why wouldn't God send, so he could document him, his experience? Because, like, if Jesus is God in the flesh, because that's what he is perceived to be by Christians, and he's a part of God, even though he's the Son. I look at that situation, and I'm like, these are multiple entities. These are different entities. You're birthing. I guess. I don't. Maybe them just saying Son is to help people understand things better. That's why they said Son. But if Jesus is God, he's not the Son, he's not the Father, he is God. You could take all that out. Just, he's God in human form. So, and you could just, like, okay, he's not the Son, he just is God. The Holy Spirit, the Father, and the Son, these are the Trinity. That sounds like three different entities to me. I could be wrong, and these people debate me, but that sounds like three different entities to me. So, like, that doesn't correlate with the Bible saying there's only one God. If I created myself, I had power. I would have somebody being able to document. I would be able to document myself, man. I would know how to read and write anyway. So, the fact that when you put this information that the Vatican has tons of books that they're not letting us see, I get it. These books are historically, like, they're very valuable, they're very old, so you don't want people like me going in there, like, trying to fucking read them, because it could destroy them. So you want to keep them in some type of vault but you know what you could do? Is you could put all the information on the internet. You can do that, but they're not. Why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they publishing all these books? Why are they keeping them secret? I don't know if they exist. I don't know if the Vatican has an extensive this is just what I've heard. But the Vatican supposedly has an extensive library that the general public cannot have access to. Why is that? Why aren't these books published? Why aren't they published? What are they hiding? That's what makes me think, like, the Bible is... There's a lot more to the Bible than is being let on. It's like they took different things that went along with the agenda to control people. And if you look at Christianity, and they used some pagan holidays to try to convert Catholic, the Romans, you know, like Easter and Christmas, and how they like kind of like, it's kind of like a hybrid holiday for Christians, where they took remnants of that whatever the holiday, whatever festivities they were using, and they just use certain things going forward for our current holidays, which I think our current holidays are amazing. Easter's cool. Christmas is awesome. Like, I love Christmas, man. I like seeing the decorations, and it's a cool time. I actually like the season more than the actual day. The actual day is just kind of like a gluttonous day. And that's like anti-Christian, honestly. Like, it's a gluttonous, like, people eat a lot. People drink. It's you don't really work. It's just a day of relaxing and gorging, honestly. Whether that's materialism, like buying each other gifts, or indulging in like eating a lot of food. So it's crazy to, you know, if you do some research, seeing like different type of festivities back in the old times morph into like current traditions. And I think it was trying to get people to convert to Christianity, and that's why they held on to certain festivities, but they like upgraded them. Yeah, you're still holding on to some of your traditions, even though it does. I don't know, man. I just think that there's some things I question, and I have to. I am a critical thinker. I question things. I much prefer, if I was a man that only thought about going to work, fishing, and working on my truck, because I'm at that level. I wish if I'm always going to be at this level, I wish I can just take like a piece of my brain and be like, I want to be like these. I want to be like these people. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about religion, politics, social studies of people, society, intricate, like what are we? Why do we do what we do? What is this universe? Is this a simulation? I'm tired of that. I just want to be like, if I'm not going to proceed with people who have the same type of intelligence as I do into things I'm interested in, and I can't be in the conversation, which is fine. I don't have to be in the conversation. I'm not the most intelligent person out here. I don't have to be in the conversation, even though like I think I could add to the conversation somewhat. You know, this is high intelligence, and this is okay. To be able to have a belief in something, correct? And then you get new information that it's like, that's 100%, that just totally dismisses my beliefs. And if I have a choice. I can either take in this new information and be like, this belief, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Or I can rebel against this new information and hold on to my belief, even if it's wrong, even if I'm proven wrong, and still double down on this belief. To me, holding on to that belief, just being proven wrong, is low intelligence to me. Now, there is a difference between people who are sellouts who change their beliefs based off of making money. And I think you see a lot of this. A lot of this is gonna happen because you're seeing things become more conservative nowadays. So you're gonna see a lot of people who were like, Sink Huger, the Young Turds. He was vehemently. I know the word. Sometimes I have trouble pronouncing words because I'm tongue-tied. So this is why I should not be in the conversation. Because I don't articulate myself the best sometimes. But like, what was I talking about? Damn it. Anyway, like, okay, yeah. How this fat ass was, he claims to be a populist, but then he was voting for the establishment, Kamala, just because they're Democrats. But now he's coming out as, I'm a populist, and then like he's going on to these conservative shows, and it's like, cool, man, but like, you were voting for the establishment just now. It's not like Elon, where Elon voted for Biden, and then around 2020, he 2022, he started like, you can see he started like questioning things. I can't talk about on here, but he started like coming out more to his position that he is now, opening his mind. And that's a lot of difference between like all of a sudden somebody changing everything instantaneously to try to go along with everybody else because that's where the money is going. So they're like basically going against their beliefs right away, for money or popularity, what have you. It's not like genuine. Where, I was a Democrat, and I gotta get off of this, but like I was a Democrat 2015. I didn't vote in 2020, 2012. I voted in 2008 for Obama, And I was like, I didn't care about either candidate, so I kind of just focused on sports back then. And then me changing, being more conservative in different aspects, and aligning myself with conservatives um, was an organic experience, not something where I'm like, I'm changing because I want to get popular, or I'm changing because I'm gonna get more money. You know, like bands would do, like they come out with this thing, and then all of a sudden, like the record executives would, these people are sellouts. They're doing whatever they have to do to make, you know. I guess if that's what you're out here to do, you're like, that's, then it's not for the music, or it's not for like intelligence. I have to get off of this.